Welcome inside the Gangneung Hockey Centre for the penultimate day of the PyeongChang 2018 Paralympic Winter Games, where if things weren't serious before, then they certainly are now. You join us for the bronze medal game and a momentous day for the para ice hockey programmes of both the Republic of Korea and Italy as they do battle for a first ever Paralympic medal.
This is the cream of the crop as the hosts will take their position on the ice first. This crowd has been electrifying throughout the 8 days of the para ice hockey tournament so far. This here, the bronze medal game, no exception. I'm sure it'll be the loudest as they'll peak out. The Italians make their way as well. The interesting thing about this bronze medal game, neither of these nations have ever medaled at a Paralympic Games before. The para ice hockey tournament started in 1994 in Lillehammer in Norway. As we look at the groups here, the semifinal stage is Canada to take out Republic of Korea, United States take out the Italians, and that leads here to the bronze medal game. Of course, the gold medal game in day 9 awaits, but this a chance for Republic of Korea to get a medal here at home as a host games.
Jonathan Morrison taking charge of his final Paralympic game. He's been officiating in para ice hockey since 2006, and he's been a catalyst in America of getting para ice hockey Pacific officials into the sport.
He's got a couple Canadian linesmen with him as well as we look at the Koreans as they leave. It's going to be Clark and Fergenbaum, the two Canadians that are the lines. But the Italians, the best they finished is 5th before. They've already done one better because if they lose this particular matchup, obviously they finish 4th. But it's all about getting a medal here. Make no mistake of it. If you get to this game, you want to get on the podium. And it really is going to be a flip of the coin. I expect there to be an advantage for Korea, of course, as the host nation. Will nerves play a part? Will they be as effective as they want to be early, and will that create pressure? It's going to be interesting. The Italian side are a little bit more measured and a little bit more experienced maybe, as Seung-Hwan Jung, he's as intense a customer as you're going to find in this coaching rank here. Lee Jae-woo, number 32, looks to be getting the nod in goal, but it's number 14, Seung-Hwan, who's the most likely player to carry the puck today for the Koreans.
As for the Italians, who finished 5th at the World Championships here in 2017, they will be looking to create their own little bit of history. Seems as though Gabriel Arado will be the man in goal for them to start with at least, and Florian Planker, the defenceman number 5, returns after being rested, we presume, in the semi-final game against the United States.
And there we look at Lee Jae-woo, and it's interesting, this selection, as you look at the stats for him. He's 8.49 as far as the goals against average there. They're not scintillating numbers. Gabriel Arado on the other end, his is a little bit better. 3.82 are his particular numbers, and then a 75% save percentage. So neither of those particular numbers are where the top teams in the world, the Canadians and the Americans, are as far as their overall output. But these nations here who have arrived into the upper half of the best in the world are really, well, they've awaited this opportunity. This here is Jung-sook. It was a year ago in this building that the Koreans claimed a bronze medal in the World Championships, and Sandro Caligaris, a couple of goals. He is one, a talisman for the Italians that they'll be looking to today.
The last time these two sides met was here at the World Championships in 2017. The Italians won on the shootout, and they also won the previous Paralympic meeting as well in Sochi 2014. But it has always been tight when these two have locked horns, and we expect much more of the same. It's the bronze medal game at the Gangneung Hockey Centre, the host Republic of Korea against Italy, and puck drop is just moments away. And away we go. We are on the road with the first medal match of the para ice hockey tournament at PyeongChang 2018. And what a big game it is as well. So poignant in the history of these two sides para ice hockey programs. As Planker gets his first involvement, and Caligaris is shifting away. The Koreans' game plan in the semi-final against Canada was to really try and rattle the cage And as hard as they tried, Canada were just too good, but I expect similar against Italy today. But Italy are a very steely unit. They don't have the pace and flair that Korea might feel as though they have. So it'll be interesting to see how these two try and cancel each other out as Korea get their first onslaught forwards. And it's not the most fluent move, but Seung-Hwan now has his first involvement. It's then speared down the board there by Jung-sook. And the pullback is met by PyeongChang.
The Koreans need a little bit of time and space. They do have flair. They're at their best when they can move, as any player in the world would be. As now it's to Seung-Hwan, and when he gets it and he can create plays, this crowd rises in anticipation, and equally the players around him support him, and they all raise their game.
Big flash on the near side as Rossa gets involved with Kim Jung-sook. And it's the latter who reigns supreme, as now Korea are on the counter charge, and they have favouring numbers as well. Coming forward is Lee. He's gone on the outside. Will he go alone? He tried to cut it across. Well, there were two dark blue jerseys there. Korea in their traditional shirts for this bronze medal game. Will that be a lucky omen? Certainly an even start, but Korea are growing into it. Jang Dong-Shin. He's just trying to get it down the centre for his namesake. But now Italy, with a nice couple of interchanges, get over the blue line, but not without incident. And Korea can see things out momentarily into the neutral zone. Rossa dumping it into the far side. Seung-Hwan is back on defensive duty. It's an electric start to this game as the crowd still piling in here at the Gangneung Hockey Centre and wanting to make sure they don't miss any of the early action.
Been good so far. It's as expected. The Italians are a pretty mature and cerebral team. They don't play, as we sometimes might refer to as a track meet, where they're up and down the length of the ice. They haven't really got that in their locker. They like to move the puck around, they keep sensible, try to have a framework to just how they structure themselves, and they're not going to allow the Italians, or rather the Koreans, a whole lot of space here.
Seung-Hwan trying to work his magic, but his pass backwards is well met by Rossa. And Calacaris is straight offside, and maybe that's just the occasion, slightly getting to him there. The heart's going to be pumping a little bit faster than it might have earlier on in this tournament, and the decision-making might not be so rational.
We haven't had any shots on goal yet. There is Rossa trying to make that play, and Calacaris is gunning down that right wing, and that is the challenge in these sleds. You really can't hold, you can't drag your back foot, can you? Once you commit, you've got momentum. It is very difficult to stop and then start again. So the players do their best to try to groove and create a little bit of a wider angle in which to maintain their momentum.
Planker dumping it in, and the first involvement for Lee Jae-woong. It's his 22nd birthday today, and what a gift a bronze medal would be for him. Of course, he and his side have to earn it, they'll be well aware. And the early indications, just as we expected, things very close indeed. Seung-Hwan is the sort of game where a player like him really needs to come to the floor and grab this by the scruff of the neck. And he's just pacing it around from left to right, and he almost got around the other side. Oh, Planker there. But the Italian got initial contact on it, and you can now try and get it away with interest. And as the crowd raise the noise level somewhat, but that puck will spin into the centre at a rate of knots, and it's pushed away by Kaufman. And Korea will look to come again. Korea are getting the possession right now, and a bit of a territorial advantage as well. They look as if they're really settling into their stride. Seung-Hwan, alarm bells beginning to ring for the Italians. He's going to get it back there from Cho Young-jae, slightly in front of him. And Planker, who was the Italian flag bearer at the opening ceremony for these games, again just showing his experience. And he's trying to find someone in white. That was risky business because flirting around the area was Lee Ju-seung, who didn't get close to it. But Korea have got Italy pinned.
Korea had the benefit of their last two games playing against the best two nations in the world. They played against the Americans in their last game of the preliminary round, and they were able to then move through into the semifinals. They play against Canada. While they're sizable defeats, what the benefit to Korea is that they have played the game at a faster pace than maybe the Italians coming into this matchup, and that means something in the early stages of a hockey game.
It's nudged back for Lee, who tried to square it across, and the whistle had already blown by one of the Canadian linesmen there. And so it'll be a face-off in the neutral zone. But Korea will want to limit the amount of stoppages that occur in this first period because they are the ones with the momentum. And Italy will certainly take these stoppages gratefully. We'll have a bit of a timeout here. It's goalless in the bronze medal game. Republic of Korea 0, Italy 0.
You see from the coaching formations here, and this looking in, it's Seung-Hwan Jung. It is very demonstrative. It is very vehement coming in, the instructions and obviously the guidance that's being provided. There isn't panic stations here, but the first goal in this hockey game is absolutely massive for whoever is going to get it. And it will really set the table and the tone, and it will very much lay the landscape potentially for this entire match.
Massimo Darin, the 57-year-old, was looking very calm when on the bench. Today will be no different, but he knows that this just has extra meaning, like no other game in Italian para ice hockey history. Back underway. Can Korea maintain the wind that is in their sails and make a goal out of it? It's an ambitious effort there from Kim Young-sung, but it got the crowd going. Maybe that's just as important sometimes as what's going on the rink and what you're doing to your opponent. If you can get the crowd on side, that can be quite intimidating for those of Italian persuasion. This time attempting the feed with Kim Young-sung, but he comes unstuck. And Rossa is the man who's there again. He's clocked up well over 100 minutes coming into this game, Gianluigi Rossa, which has been the only player to do so. As now coming forward are the Italians with Winkler. Just curving around the corner and slammed into there by Kim Young-sung. Welcome to the game. Taking no prisoners at all there, the Korean number 12, who's played a bit of a part now at both ends of the rink in the opening minutes. And that was dangerous stuff from Yang Dong-Shin, who lost a stick, but he's fortunate he didn't lose a little bit more than that in terms of goal counts. Korea looking comfortable, but they have to make sure that they're not complacent because the Italians are in for a battle in this bronze medal bout. It's still goalless. And now Jung Seung-hwan, you know when he's got it, the crowd are telling you he tries to squirm the way down the centre, and Rossa has just come across and checked him. And I think that's going to be a teeing call there. Jonathan Morrison issuing the first penalty of the game. Jung Seung-hwan did not yield a goal from that, but he could do in the next couple of minutes.
As soon as he takes this here in stride, he decides he's going straight ahead. He could have looked at the left, could have looked at the right, but he goes right down the middle, and he forces Rossa here to respond and to catch him. Cavalier is there as well, and it's a good decision. He could have just, for a moment, looked as though he was going to break through the gap of the two defenders, but that shows you a little bit of the guile from the Italians, but they're forced, because of his speed, to give the Koreans the first power play of the game.
Rossa, the best defenseman at the 2016 European Championships. It takes something for him to be on the ropes. And Jung Seung-hwan there really accelerating forwards, and this could be an opportunity for him now. It's just gone past him. In fact, it was Cho Young-jae. What an opening that was. He's got it now, Cho. Still going for the effort. It is blocked very well indeed by Laperdi, and it squirms all the way, not across the first blue line, but the second as well.
The Gangneung Hockey Centre has been an emotional cauldron all week when the Koreans have played. It has been for all of the competition. But if they score here, this place is going to have to be reinforced again.
The foundations trembling somewhat there when Cho Young-jae had the opportunity. He's got it right at the other end of the rink right now. Planker just getting away, and the first half of this penalty kill for Italy has been efficient, but for how much longer? Because Korea have got the pace that Italy lack, and they've just got that extra bit of ammunition with the crowd with them, as the effort from deep is comfortably put wide by Araudo, and there was no one there to gobble it up in Korean blue.
Just interesting how Araudo, how casual he was. Of course, he didn't feel any pressure from the Koreans following up on that loose puck, but it's little things in a game like this that can count for so much. And again, we talk about the first goal that you might think that a power play is going to yield that for Korea, but it looks as though the Italians have done enough here just to thwart it, smother them, and to just try to close the channels down whenever the Koreans have given themselves some wide eyes and tried to explode it.
Well, these last 45 seconds have all been spent with Korea trying to recycle the puck inside their own defensive zone. And so far they've not succeeded. And on the next phase they give it away cheaply as well in the neutral zone. Cavalier, the Italian captain, just putting his cap on things and shifting it for Planka, and a well-negotiated penalty kill for the Italians, which might give them a little bit of a boost because they're going to feel like they're right up against it so far. And Rossa immediately making his impact back on the ice towel. And Planka now, he's short on options, and right in his back there was Yang Dong-Shing, who was not the sort of company you'd be wanting if you're an Italian on that ice so far. He is wedged right up against the ball. Jonathan Morrison just lurking and taking account of what's going on. Play moved towards the near side, and Italy can't make anything of it. Right forward from the Italians. I think that's the first time they've had 5 white jerseys over the red line in this first period. We are well over the halfway point in this first 15 minutes, and it's still goalless.
And this, the sequence where the crowd really lights up in anticipation of a connected pass here. It was a great decision to cut back against the grain there and to force the Italians just to kind of stretch and reach. If they connect that pass, I think Korea was in as good a position as either team. There's only 1 shot so far in this first period, and it belongs to Italy, oddly enough, given the fact that we think Korea has had the majority of the puck time.
It only takes a moment, and Italy now are beginning to camp themselves inside Korean territory. Cavalier was the one trying to ask the question that time around. Well hurdled by the linesman there and clattered into Kim Young-sung onto the Italian. This is a very physical game as we expected. Rossa, spare man, Italy chance, spurned. Wow, what a moment. Corvino, who was fortunate to be credited with the goal against the United States in the semi-final, with a huge moment. And Lee Jae-in has got his first birthday present of the day.
Oh goodness, here Corvino is in a golden position, and he comes up shooting a muffin as he had every opportunity there to fire a bullet. And it comes up a little bit short of the mark, and he'll be a little bit frustrated by that one. As the excitement in this building raises, have a look back here at the play for the Italians. That's the best look that either side has had so far. Corvino doesn't entirely get the full shot off that he wants, and that's important for the Koreans. It's a big save for the birthday boy.
Well, we've had a moment like that at either end now, but Corvino's opportunity far better than the one Cho Young-jae had at the other end, because he had the puck in his wraps and he just couldn't release the right amount of leather to get it past Lee Jae-in, who will be grateful it was so tame. Moon Jae-in, the Republic of Korean president, alongside him the First Lady as well. He said this game was a big one, and he didn't want to miss it.
Well, he's as charming a man as you would want to have be a leader of your country. And he has been the face of these games in as many venues as he has been able to visit, whilst also carrying on his duties. And these have been a colossal moment in the history of South Korea. 3 times they tried to bid and to be successful to get both the Olympic and Paralympic Games, and finally successful in 2018.
Coming forward now, Cho Young-jae, and Young Seung-hwan almost got his stick onto the end of it, couldn't bring it under his spell. And so Cho Young-jae having to retreat and get things going once more. Don't think the Italians have been tested too much. There's a lot of energy about the Korean side and the buzzing around the ice, but I don't think anything for the Italian defensemen to get a sweat on yet.
That's a fair comment. They've been rather measured, and you see it's the only 2 shots of the game. Korea, for all the flickers of excitement and anticipation, it's been here. Now they need to penetrate the goal.
Cho Byung-suk has the shot, and Araudo with a mammoth of a right paw onto that to get it over the bar. The crowd were at the seats, and they thought they were going to celebrate the first goal of the bronze medal game. But the Italian, big, and showing exactly why he's been called upon for this game.
The Koreans are not afraid to take their moment. They don't stand around. They're not backward about being forward. They'll come and take their chances when they're there.
Yang Dong-Shing now on the near side. And again, picked off by Larch on this occasion. Korea need to do this more and really get Italy forced towards their own goal line. because after starting promisingly, it's dwindled somewhat, and that's credit to the side from the Mediterranean. Kim-Young-Chung rolling it down this near side, and Rosser, the man there again, got the option of Winkler. And he had a bit more room there, Winkler, than I think he thought, and Kim can thread it through, and unknowingly there, it was Jang Jong-ho who was looking the opposite way. That wasn't him trying to be audacious, he just did not have a clue where that puck was. Lots having to rescue things on the far side. But now come Korea, and the effort is wide. And again, it's Kim-Young-Sung, who could not have gone much closer. That's just whistled past the far post.
That's a heavy shot, just coming in quickly. It's a left-handed sidewinder. As you saw, a little bit of the exchange going on in front of the Italian bench that led to that moment.
Another purple patch for the Korean, saved by Araudo, real opportunity, and again thwarted by Gabriel Araudo. Goodness me, Lee Jung-sung could not have had a better opportunity there to open the Korean account. Here they come once again, denied by Cavalier, and now the Italian break is on.
Well, that was a moment there for Korea. They had Jonathan Morrison jumping over barrels to keep out of the way of all the action in front, as the Koreans, with a triple play of pressure, could not find a way to get past Araudo.
Cavalier, as the Italians, just showing their experience, and they are not rattled despite the pressure. But a game of this magnitude, sometimes the biggest worry is whether it'll live up to its own hype. But this has been an electric start. The Koreans will feel as though they should be ahead. 2 shots from either side, but Korea definitely having the better of them. Of course, the Italians having the effort through Valeriano Covino from close range, thwarted by Lee Jae-woon. And this, a very appetising game indeed, with 2.5 minutes remaining of the first period.
Well, a slight difference as we've seen from the shots that have been taken. There's only 2 aside, but when the Koreans shoot, they mean business.
Thread back again, and Leperti was facing his own goal. Caligaris inadvertently got there, and it was going towards the Italian crease. And Gabriel Araudo, with the agility of a gymnast, to flip from his right, to go towards the left, and plant his hand on the puck, because there were 2 in Korean blue who were ready to stick that into the back door.
Well, it was a scrap like there was quarters rolling on the floor, and everybody wanted to get there first. But it was, in fact, Araudo who gets his glove to it. And with the movement here, a build-up, maybe a little bit of an ambitious pass there on the backhand, but this, as it's just spraying away from Araudo, maybe a chance there for Korea to get to it first.
Great tenacity from Jang Dong-Shin to get back there on Caligaris and get the nudge in towards the far post. Well, there were 2 Koreans waiting, but they couldn't gobble it up. But Korea, it's them creating the waves. And despite the heavy reading on the Richter scale, Italy are surviving. That's straight at Araudo, but it was hit with some real venom. Well, if Italy see out this first period, they'll probably think that they're halfway there. Maybe they can nick one at the other end now. And going straight into the challenge. Oh, Cho Young-jae was Corvino, who will still be ruining that earlier miss.
Well, he's had a couple good looks, hasn't he, Corvino? He keeps getting on the end of these opportunities, being serviced by the Italians, whether by hook or by crook. He's finding himself in those positions. I'm sure he'd love to be able to make a little bit more of it.
Flanker, trying to put it through there for Leperti. Corvino will get onto this one, will he? Again, it's him and Cho Young-jae making enemies again. And then it's a 2-on-2 from either side into the backboard as we go into the final minute. It's been a breathless first period, but these are the spaces that the Koreans are begging for. Lee goes straight there into flanker, and then the effort comes in and saved by Araudo. All happening here. It's Lee Yong-min with the effort. Araudo denies it, and every time that puck goes near the hash mark, this crowd are expecting.
Oh, it was such a great self-sacrificing play by Seung-Hwan Jung. As he makes that play, he elects to take the hit from the defenseman, knows it's coming. He gets trolleyed in the train tracks, but at least he gets it across to his teammate for a good-looking goal.
Korea trying to show there's method in the madness here, because it's carnage out on the ice. They've come closest to scoring, but the Italians are resolute. Ross is down on the ice, and he's staying down as well. and so play will be halted here. And the 30-year-old not looking in a wise condition. We hope he's okay. He doesn't seem to be in too much pain.
Well, the interesting part is we look at this play again here as it just comes in. That change of direction late. I mean, this was a real sequence here for the Koreans, as that's the real first flurry of chaos in front of the Italian goal. But of these two sides, you'd think because of the way the Koreans play that they're a little bit younger than they are. Their average age is 36, for the Italians' average age is 35. So they play different styles, and you would associate youth and a real energy from the Koreans, but they've got enough depth about them as well. They are a full-man squad here, the Koreans, as they still find themselves, well, they've now taken the lead with 4 shots to 2 over the Italians in this first period.
So much colour in this place, so much noise, and the majority of this crowd in the Gangneung Hockey Centre are just begging for a goal. They're not going to get one in the first period. There were a couple of occasions where it seemed like the puck had been sucked into the back of Gabriel Araudo's net, but he and the rest of the Italians have managed to hold firm in that first period. A very even stalemate. However, the Koreans will probably feel as if they should be ahead, but let's not forget Valeriano Cavino with arguably the best opportunity of the first period. Both goaltenders have had to be on their A game. Now, as we close the first period, it's the Republic of Korea 0, Italy 0.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. Unattended property could be considered a security risk and may be confiscated by police. Please keep your belongings with you at all times.
안내 말씀드리겠습니다. 방치된 물건은 보안상 위험 요소로 간주되어 수거될 수 있으니 개인 소지품 관리에 주의해 주시기 바랍니다.
The first period not yielding a goal. The 4 shots belonging to Korea. The couple from the Italians in the power play. There was an opportunity in the power play for Korea, and they weren't able to really make a whole lot of it. In fact, that was rather an uneventful 2 minutes with the player advantage. And there you see the record of the 4 shots against the 2. And it looked as though the Italians in the most were receiving the pressure in that opening 15 minutes, trying to weather the storm. As we look at the majority of the success in the faceoffs belonging to Korea and getting that power play opportunity, it maybe feathered their favor as far as maybe being the first ones to go on the board. We have said that the first goal in this game is going to loom large to set the table as to who is going to ultimately be the victor in a match like this. In a one-game showdown, that is such a confidence booster as the energy in this building continues to rise as we move through. I think they were a little late getting the memo, some of the Koreans, as we are seeing some dancing and activity going on here in the stands. I think they had lunch first, and now they're in here as we look back over this first period of play. And now this was a sensational feed here. This cutback is the look that they really needed to have, and the feed, however, wasn't quite precise enough there. Arado tries to marshal it, but the Koreans really kind of carved through this Italian defense, and then all of a sudden Corvino is all alone by some significant margin. I'm not sure what happened there to the Korean defense. I think they went for a quick little nap, and unfortunately you can't go napping in a game like this. It's 45 minutes strong, or maybe more, to determine who is going to take bronze. And ultimately, and it sounds a bold thing to say, this is like gold for both of these nations. They've never won a medal before, and the dominance in para ice hockey from the Canadians and the Americans means that they really sit 1-2 in the most in this sport, and it's a battle for a bronze medal, realistically, for the teams, as this is touched on. And moving forward, it's the Koreans who create the activity. Look at Morrison doing the up and over there as he does a quick version of the pogo stick to get out of the way of all of the activity in front of Arado. And it was a little bit frantic at times, but in the most, the Italians had the measure of it, as this was the best sequence where it was double trouble. And there you see it again from Morrison. It's just fun to watch just how much energy and how alive this building gets, and equally everyone who plays their part on the ice. As there's a nice little 1-2 Texas two-step that ultimately, it's just beyond the reach of the Koreans. It could have gone in with a little bit more vigor there. If you really want to put your spokes into the opponent's tires, you got to really stick it in quick. And this was a pretty good look here from the Koreans. Coming back, Caligaris driving through like a bull, but ultimately getting to it is Arado that seals the deal and settles things down in that opening frame.
It's always tight when these two face each other. 3-2 to Italy at the World Championships 12 months ago, and their only previous Paralympic meeting, Italy again faring out on top, but only by the odd goal in 3. And that sort of tight complexion is what we are witnessing once again in the bronze medal game. These two sides safe in the knowledge that whatever happens over the course of the next half an hour, they will finish higher in the Paralympic Games than they ever have before. But when the offer of bronze is what's on the end of the piece of string, then of course it's gonna hurt if you don't come out on top. Another big period on the way here at the Gangneung Hockey Centre, which is almost packed to the rafters now. Republic of Korea gearing up for the second period against Italy.
We await the game's first goal, and as much as the table may be set, a sense maybe of destiny for Korea here at home in this bronze medal game, make no mistake about it. The Italians played a big game first period, and they could equally score here first against what has been maybe the run of play. Because of the volume, because of the energy in this building, every time the Koreans touch the puck, you sometimes think they're doing more than maybe they did in that opening 15. They're gonna have to raise it another notch to get past this Italian defense.
So the final part of the intermission entertainment in venue here just coming to a close. And then we will get our teeth stuck into another fascinating 15 minutes of action here at PyeongChang 2018. The bronze medal game We are back underway, and Italy on top in the face-off. Like, they weren't so much in the first period. The Koreans out 4-2 in the face-offs in the first 15 minutes. But Korea will want to get the crowd back to the noise levels that they had in the first period. And Caligaris, the puck was just stuck under his sledge there, and he did not realise how good an opportunity that was. Didn't quite get his bearings. At the other end, it's Seung-Hwan Jung, and he's taken out midway inside the Italian zone. And, well, the same frenetic pace being adopted straight away in the opening seconds of period 2.
They said it before, just talking about the energy in this building, it really does feel, as we just move out of that intermission here, like it's a festival of life here. And if the Koreans are going to score first, again, you almost get excited to think about the possibility of it, because you just really, with all of this crowd behind, you almost want to see that fairy tale happen for them. But Italy, very measured and smart, they get the best look so far in the second period.
Caligaris was controlling that with the wrong end of his stick there, just because it was coming at him so quickly. He was using the pick end rather than the blade, which meant he couldn't take the sting out of the puck as it came towards him. And again, that scramble for possession is had and won by the Koreans, who have men over. Jung-Sung-Hwan pushing along. The opportunity is here. There's the space. That's the save from Araudo, and the rebound is lost. Well, Kim Young-sung hit that so hard he lost his stick, and Araudo was equal to it. What a big save that is. The pressure's still on, and the stick still just dangling around in the centre like debris after a battlefield.
Oh, Araudo had no business making this save. Point blank in that position. We thought it was going to be a goal from Kim Young-sung. And there Araudo is showing you just exactly the resilience and equally that steely nature of the Italians' defense.
These two sides well aware of what this means, and it's not just a case of what it will mean in this game and in this tournament as a whole, but the future of their national programs in the Republic of Korea and in Italy as well. And there's a bit of metal somewhere in the centre of the Italian crease from the stick flying away from the grasp of Kim Young-sung. But play continues. He's got his stick back, and Korea once again have the puck, and it's that man again.
He's had a couple good looks, hasn't he? He's got the preference of a left-handed delivery, and that's generally a little bit of a different angle about how it is arriving at goal or how a player is going to get rid of it. But this now is the danger man, the rocket man, holding up and trying to set the table for his side. Look at this trickery.
Good opportunity again, and Araudo again is the nemesis of Kim Young-sung, who has another look on goal, a bit further out this time. And Araudo is well on form, as now the break is on for the Italians, and it's Corvino. He's ousted the first time. Can he get there the second? No, he can't. Great work coming from Han Min-soo. And in fact, it was DePaoli who was making the burst down the centre. He's trying to get it back again now. He will fail to do so. And Korea can sweep it away, and that's always the danger. Korea are enjoying far more territorial advantage, as the Italians, there was 3 of them in the corner there, getting stuck in a situation that they didn't want to. And Rossa is the man that you'd want back there to deal with things. Unnerving times for the Italians.
Rossa on the blue line. He's a heavy pair of hands, but a safe pair of hands. He can shoot the puck, he can make things happen offensively, but you can see just the way he's approaching this game that he wants to be the last line defense and not take any unnecessary chances going forward.
Cho Young-jae is the latest to battle with it, this time with Niles Larch. And it squirms away into the path of Cho Byung-suk. He's trying to turn away. And eventually picked up by Jung-Sung-Hwan, who's from deep and couldn't really put on the afterburners there. Going to get on the end of this puck now. He'll leave it instead for Cho Byung-suk. And Larch was across, meaning business. Plankenau's got some unwanted attention being attracted towards him. Corvino not bringing it under control. And on the pursuit there was Radisa. But Korea coming out on top. Both defences are so far. Although when I say defence in terms of the Italian, it's certainly their goaltender Gabriel Araudo who's the star man. He'll be called upon again now. Jung-Sung-Hwan, this is his moment. Jung-Sung-Hwan with a chance, and it's again saved by Araudo. How many more opportunities are the Koreans going to spurn here? What a moment that was, and what a big save. He's forced upon again Araudo, who just pats it away and get that puck away from me.
Oh, Arado right now has got seeking guidance to be able to stay with the action of the Koreans coming towards him. He mirrors that play. There was 2 hitches and decoys coming in from Seung-Hwan that I thought he had sold it well enough to Arado to buy it for more than it was worth. But in the end, he fronts up and says no deal and shuts the door.
Jonathan Morrison getting caught up in affairs once again on the red line there. This is gripping stuff in the bronze medal game at the Gangneung Hockey Centre, where still we are without a goal, but Korea have had the 8-2 and 4 of them coming in the first 6 minutes of the second period. They are all over this game right now. They're doing the right things, but they're coming up against a goaltender in the form of his life. As now surging forward, Cho Young-jae with a shot, and again it is saved. And in fact, that may have been Jang Dong-Shin. Either way, Arado is just ticking all the boxes, but I think he's running out of ink.
Oh, it's incredible watching him. He reminds me of the character from Charlie Brown, Peppermint Patty. He is just taunting the Koreans to come forward, and when they think they've got an opportunity, he's just pulling it away. As here come the Koreans with a look here. 2 hitches, and that is a bullseye bonanza going to the bottom side of goal, and he stays with it and fronts up and says, yeah, you thought you had some room elevated up high. You don't actually, because you're not going to hit it. And then here, this is the move again, once, twice, and 3 times is a charm for Arado as he goes full extension, stays with the poster boy of these games for Korea, and again says no dice.
That was almost like a shootout moment there for Jung Seung-Hwan, picking it up right from the centre circle, going all the way, giving Arado the eyes, just chopping it away onto his right-hand side, thinking he'd got the right angle for it. But Arado has been absolutely outstanding. The 43-year-old in his 3rd Paralympic Games is probably having his best game of the lot. Back underway, and Korea still applying the pressure to the gas, and almost a slide tackle coming in there from Cavalier, who thought, forget about the sticks, just put your body on the line. Now Caligaros, this is the exact sort of opportunity that he'll be wanting, and he gets to the second puck as well. Caligaros lost his bearings, and on his unfavoured left-hand side, just couldn't make it count. Now Rossa wrapping his stick around it, and it's chopped away. And now the attack on for the Koreans. The game is stretched, and that favours the home side. Well nudged out of it. Paul Vino getting involved into the back of Cho Byung-suk. And we've had no penalties in the second period, but goodness me, it's still been physical, but very fair.
Well, it's interesting because Korea has had the shot advantage by the extensive margin that they have now and have had the lion's share of offensive opportunity, and they've not converted yet. You start to chase it, and when you chase it, you open up at the back. You just wonder whether or not there's going to be a counter-strike from the Italians.
Now Rossa, he's got room to work with. He's leaving a wet trail behind him, and he hits it straight into Lee Jae-woong's shot. And he just easily picked the apple off the tree there with the left glove. But it's his first moment in this second period, Lee Jae-woong. But he's keeping sharp and he's alive to the situations.
Well, and that's a challenge for a goalkeeper who's not getting a whole lot of activity. He fronts and sees that one. Considering there's 3 Koreans in the line there from the shot that comes from the Italian, he does well to take that comfortably and show confidence to his team. Listen, guys, I got this. You take care of things out front.
Korea winning that face-off, and they've won quite a few of the 50-50 battles so far. Of course, there's that extra dimension of wanting to do it for your home crowd. Both of these are trying to make their respective nations' para-ice hockey history books, and they will do that anyway. But when you've got 10,000 people behind you, then you really wanted to go that extra bit further to do it not just for yourself and your team, but also your public. This is Winkler. Got the overlap there, and it was Planka who got slammed into by Jang Jong-ho, and he perhaps thought that that was a teeing incident. The linesman on the far side waved it away, as did Jonathan Morrison, which is the most important thing. Now, Jung Seung-Hwan again has got the space. Can he finish it this time? Left. Oh, it's on the left blade, and it goes wide of the far post. And he was well checked just as he struck that there. He's got it again, Jung Seung-Hwan, so determined to get on the end of it. Clattered into by Planka.
And the Italians showing that they have to play that game against Seung-Hwan. They've got to play him physical. They are forcing him to go to his left hand with a shot there. It looked like it maybe flirted with going in past Dorado, but that's his weaker side for sure.
He's a real technician, isn't he, Seung-Hwan? He can make anything happen from any situation, and the Italians are giving a bit more room in the second period than they did in the first. They're trying to ensure they get these regular line changes, and it is leaving the gaps behind. As Larch just dumps it behind the goal, and that'll be a bit of respite for the defenceman. Cho Byung-suk now, releasing Seung-Hwan again. That was the hope, and its destination is in fact with the Italians and Larch, who spreads it across nicely, and the chance is on, is it, for Caligaris, who's clattered into by Kim Young-sung, and it's the first penalty of the second period, and the Italians this time are the ones with the power play.
This is a penalty all 45 minutes of a hockey game, as the power play for the Italians, the first time it's going to be seeing its employment. And there is the man who has at times flirted with the most likely to score in this game, coming across and giving the Italian the little bit of a T-bone there. He gets the arm really up as much as anything. He tries to get across in front of him, and he's just a little bit off the back of the Italian player.
Holding is the call from Kim Young-sung. And we've got a bit of a break as well. He'll have a 2-minute one. He'll be hoping it's 2 minutes. Otherwise, the first goal of the game will be going to the Italians. And what a big goal it would be.
Power plays are kind of funny things. You are expected to create momentum with them because you have the player advantage. But if you don't create momentum with them, you lose a little bit of confidence. You lose a little bit of momentum. Now the Koreans here with a little extra room on the ice might be able to go and create and make something happen offensively. It's an interesting dynamic. The Italians need to win this draw.
Well, a welcome opportunity, certainly for Seo Kwang-suk, the Korean head coach there, just to pass on his words to the four skaters out on the ice for Korea right now and how to marshal this out. Caligaris just cannons one in. It's well marshaled away. Now Macri from distance. Again, it's hit the navy blue wall. And it will be ousted, will it? Well, it's still the right side of the blue line as far as the Italians are concerned. Flanker. Italy pitching their tents inside Korean territory for the first time in the second period. Can they maximise a goal-scoring opportunity? Leperdi, great pass back. Rossa, big moment, big save.
Oh, wow, was it ever. He got a piece of that with a blocker. I thought he was done, and he had gone too far and overcooked it. He found a way just to turn off the oven and just settle proceedings.
Well, Rossa's eyes lit up there, and perhaps it dazzled his vision somewhat because you would have expected him to strike that into the net. But well defended by the Koreans, who may turn defence into attack now. The Italian mistake, and Lee Jung-min trying to maximise it. It's in the neutral zone. Doesn't really matter where it is as long as it's not with Italian sticks for now. And it's dumped into the corner, so Korea can go wholesale with the changes. Rosa, it's got two towards the near side, and the Koreans have been attracted to Planker now. Again, it's swept away with 40 seconds remaining of the Italian power play. And just like the Koreans in the first period, they've not been efficient with it, although they did go close with Rossa. Korea surviving for now. There's the one last burst in the final 30 seconds. Caligaris just opting long, and he saw Planker intelligently on the far side, who will leave this for Leperdi, and Leperdi just, well, I'm not quite sure what happened there. And Seung-Hwan was on him, and perhaps that intimidated him somewhat. Rossa again checking across and intercepting. Vital on the blue line. The linesman is just sat on a fence right now trying to get out the way. He's a spectator, and he's enjoying it like everyone else. Macri has got the option on the far side. Korea at full strength, but they may be pegged back now. Rossa goes down. Leperdi, it slips away from him. And it's as though wax has been put on the puck because he just couldn't bring it under control. Caligaris now. What a great time this would be to score for the Italians. Chance across. Planker trying to catch it and bring it down. He gets it second time around and it goes wide. Hearts in mouth stuff as Italy, twice in as many minutes, go close to breaking the deadlock.
Well, the Italians are going right through their keychain right now, looking to find that key to open up the Korean door. And as long as they're in this zone here right now, they've got a chance at which to do so. Finally, the Koreans get some respite.
Rossa again is the man in charge. And Korea are good starters in every game they play, and you just worry for them if they've burnt out or not, because Italy have strength in numbers. Planka, Leperdi, he's got the option of Calageras, and that's gone wide of the post, and it may have took a nick on the way through as well, because the puck wasn't travelling as quickly as it was when it immediately left his play. Calageras committed to the course, but nowhere near the puck. And Italy have, ever since the power play, just carried on with that momentum. Although they're playing with fire. Rossa, with his body language, you wouldn't have told. But, well, he was maybe a bit too relaxed there. Got out the situation. It's going to come straight back at them. Lee Young-min are now trying to parade forward is Yang Jong-ho. Safe option is dump it behind and pass the responsibility onto someone else. But he'll have it back now, Jang. And now to Cho Young-jae, who's gone close on a few occasions, but that was very ambitious indeed, and it wasn't quite brilliant.
Well, it shows you a little bit, though, of the power from the Koreans, how they can just get it off from a position there. They prefer to go to the blue line, and they were doing that because they were running out of movement and patterns and options to try to deceive this Italian defense. But those types of shots in pair ice hockey are equally capable of going in the net if they aren't over the goal, if they're just high, because of the keepers being in their sledges. A lot of the upper half of the net, as you just saw, the attempt there from Rossa had to be parried away by the Korean, and that was a huge one. But you see a lot of elevated goals come in, and that's an important part of pair ice hockey and shot placement.
We can see that percentage there really favouring the Koreans, 61%. And it shows how dogged they are, because we speak a lot about how the Koreans and the goals they score, but goodness me, they're strong defensively, and they've had to be in this game, and they're going to have to be again, because Italy are flirting with the blue line, and it's Rossa back for Leperdi, and now Corvino, and that is easy stuff for Lee Jae-won, who just had to catch that like a wicket keeper, and he managed to get his wicket.
Just to have a little reflection of how these teams have scored in this tournament. The Italians have scored 5 goals, but had 12 scored against them. And then this was in the preliminary round. And then the Koreans have scored 7 and 11 against them. That was after the first 3 rounds of the preliminary stages. So there really isn't a whole lot in it. They've obviously given up more than they have scored, but that's because they have played the most powerful teams in the world, the Canadians and the Americans as well.
This time it's Italy faring on top in the face-off, and they are ending this second period on a high. This is the best moments that they've had so far in this bronze medal game. They've not got a goal to show for it, but they will be encouraged and will probably not want the buzzer to go at the end of the second period. Picking it up from deep now is Calageras, who just ghosts inside, and that was a lot of force into Lee Jong-kyung. And now the break is on, and it's Jo Byung-suk who's found the main man, Jung Seung-hwan, who is taken away by Macri. Once again, that opening, giving the crowd encouragement, and it must be overwhelming the Italians, you would think, defensively, but that's not the case so far.
The Italians are bigger-bodied players, and they took out Jung-Hwan, and then by the time he got a chance to get back into play, to get to that puck as it was represented to him, well, he was a little bit behind the 8 ball, and that is a part of the physicality that's coming in from the Italians. It's disruptive. It also is keeping the Koreans at bay just enough right now. As you would have thought, given the drama that we have seen from Korea in this tournament, that they would have found a way to score a goal thus far. It has not been the case, as we're almost to the end of the second period.
Well, it is party time, isn't it, in the Gangneung Hockey Centre. What a successful game this has been for the nation of the Republic of Korea. But they would love to add a second bronze medal of the week to their tally. And this could be one of the biggest that they have ever won. Italy again doing the job on them. And Italy themselves, they've only been a para ice hockey program since the 2006 Paralympic Winter Games, which they hosted in Turin. And Paralympics on Paralympics, they finished that one place higher each time. And Korea just disrupted right at the end of the second period. Their nemesis this time was not a rowdo, it was the end of period horn. But once again, a goalless second period, but not without incident. And Italy, if anything, towards the back end of the second period, looked the most likely to get the breakthrough. After the penalty from Kim Young-sun, it was all Italy right towards the back end of the second set of 15 minutes, but still we are yet to have a score. Republic of Korea 0, Italy 0.
We are in the middle of a rock concert here in the Gangneung Hockey Centre, and the two-star leads are Korea and Italy. As the shots are the Koreans with 6 over, well, that was just the second period alone, and Italy with 3 over the game now is Republic of Korea with 10. They, the host nation, of course, and the Italians with the 5. And we have been ramped up here in this second intermission to some serious level going on inside this building. And there you have a look at the action so far. The Koreans have had just the nominal advantage on the face-off winning percentage there, 56.25. They both had a power play. The president is watching over and keeping a, well, hopefully a good luck charm in his pocket for this host nation. They've never won a medal in para ice hockey, and medals are hard to come by for the Koreans at these Paralympic Games in PyeongChang, as this crowd has been absolutely raucous. And they continue to be. And you wonder whether or not it's going to be a fairy tale finish here, or is this going to be a tragedy as we look back over the second period of action. And this looked to be, for certain, a goal for Korea, as Kim Jung-sook basically has Arado begging for mercy, and one more time as it could not be done. As you see a few different looks at it, and then Arado from a distance high out in front of that blue paint, making sure to close down the angle. You see how he likes to front up to the shooter. And then this one here. He stays with the nation's son, isn't he? As this is the hero, Seung-Hwan, look to be the one to break open this deadlock as he is weaving, winding, delaying, and ultimately getting shut down by the outstretched arm of Arado, and it is a world-class save. As they keep coming in from the Koreans, they had the lion's share of activity, and then this here from the other Korean most likely to do the damage, Jang Dong-Shin. We've seen him equally make plays happen. He's got 3 points, a goal and 2 assists in this tournament so far, and there's a pretty comfortable save made by the birthday boy, Lee Jae-woong, as he just lets his teammates know, hey, you keep taking a chance up front. And how close was that shot? Maybe there wasn't a whole lot on it, but there was enough accuracy there, maybe beyond a little further than we thought. But this, they force the superstar, Jung-Seok-Hwan, to his left-hand side. That's his weaker of the two. And how about that blocker save? That looked to be earmarked for the top corner as Rosa comes in and almost fires the pizza right into the top corner. But the Koreans just noodle it out, as it has been a real super class of excitement, both of the teams playing to their characteristics and playing to their full ability. And it looks at this stage like it might just be one goal that could be the difference in this bronze medal game.
This has been an absolute blockbuster of a bronze medal game so far, but we are just missing the goal to go with it. And you feel like right now that it will only take one goal to win this game, whether it be in regulation or in overtime. I dread to think what the nerves would be like if we went to an extra 5 minutes, but let's focus on that after the 45, because the two sets of skaters come back out onto the ice for the final set of 15 minutes, and it will be the Republic of Korea who will be in their traditional blue and red, going from right to left against the Italians in their changed jersey of white. The scores are at a stalemate. Republic of Korea 0, Italy 0, but one of these two teams are going to be taking away their first ever Paralympic bronze medal in para ice hockey.
In games like this, as a one-off, as we are at the full limit for both of these teams in the tournament, it isn't always a beautiful goal. It's not always the most sexy that has been scored. It could be a broken play. It could be a change-up. It could, in fact, be a mistake made by one of these players on the ice that leads to an opponent taking full advantage. You hope it's not. You hope it's a thriller. But we are into the business end of a bronze medal match here, and we are no closer to understanding who is going to claim it.
This is the 7th ever para ice hockey tournament at a Paralympic Winter Games. And I would struggle to find a better one than this here at PyeongChang 2018. Here on the penultimate day of action in the Gangneung Hockey Centre, we are deciding who will be taking the first of the 3 medals. Heartbreakingly, one of them will miss out. Korea against Italy, the home nation, who have been sticking to the script so far. and they just keep on drawing in the audiences. But will they be smiling at the end of this 15 minutes? Back underway, the biggest 15 minutes in the history of the Italians and the Republic of Korea's para ice hockey programs. How historic could it be? Seung-Hwan immediately just trying to catch out Araudo, who is still alive after the work he's had to do in the previous half an hour of the game. And then another effort comes in and is comfortably taken away by Leperdi, who would have felt the full force of that. And keeping it alive very well indeed now is Lee Kyung-jung, who just couldn't keep possession. That came at him, and he would have thought that was his moment. It was taken away from him so unceremoniously, however. He'll have to bide his time and hope it comes again. But against this Italian defence, you don't get too many moments like that.
Well, it was a couple good looks there from the Koreans in this opening minute. Long-range efforts, and those are equally as capable of going across the line. This is disruption here. They're going to come up with a Korea. That's a great forecheck as there is a number of Italians taking away. There's going to be a loose player up front here, but great Italian defense to strip it back.
Well, the two Italians just drawn in towards the puck and inadvertently colliding into one another. And they're getting rattled between one another now, the Italians, which is something we haven't seen too often in this game. The crowd now getting into the Mexican wave, and this game just as much in full flow. Calagaris just couldn't quite get his stick onto the end of it. But you don't even have to know the number on the name of the back of the shirt. You know it's Calagaris, just his unique style. Not many players can take the puck like him in the final third. He's going to have to be back on defensive duty now, however. Korea keeping the puck alive, and again, bodies going sprawling out on the ice, all for the cause of the bronze medal, and all just to avoid conceding that first goal. Because the importance of it, we said at the start it was big, but goodness me, after so long of this game now, it is absolutely imperative to get it.
Well, it's going to be like a river ride here, and there's going to be a lot of rapids in the remaining 12 minutes and 40 seconds. They're going to need to buckle in tight and make sure they got their life jackets on.
Well, Italy are wanting that puck dead, and they're not going to get it. Jonathan Morrison is not going to side with them here, so the puck is still going, and the shot comes in and is saved by Araudo, and that time it was Jung-sook. Is the eruption gonna come anytime soon? Again, it's the same man firing it over, and Cho is really the one grabbing this game and saying, I'll take the responsibility if no one else will. Will it be a hat-trick of efforts from him now? He'll look to be the supplier instead, as Cho Young-jae is trying to squirm it through for somebody in blue. It's kept over the blue line by the Koreans, who dump it in again, and Araudo is equal to it again. And he is the only thing denying Korea from this bronze medal right now.
Korea are poised. They look and feel as though they are on the door. They're not just knocking. Again, they are just finding a way. And if it doesn't have to be a key, they might jimmy the lock here of the Italian goal, whichever way they need to. Bring out a crowbar, bring out a battering ram. They're coming now, the Koreans. They're putting their best effort to put the Italian goal under siege.
Italy were having so much at the end of the second period. You did get the sense that if they didn't want that to end, and, well, Jung Seung-Hwan's completely lost track of the puck at the wrong moment. And Italy are living a charmed life right now, but they could come at the other end. They'll dump it in towards the corner and ask the chase from Leperdi.
That feed to Seung-Hwan was good enough for him to score. He just didn't receive it as well as he would have hoped. I don't think it was nerves. It just seemed to have not got the control of it on the first touch, but that was a backside play. He had a lot of goal to look at.
Kim just playing it down the near board. Planka immediately checked into by Lee Ju-seung. There is no time to rest on this puck at all for either side. As again, the Italians are just taking the sting out of things and just disrupting Korea, because they're on a bit of a surfboard. The wave is that high and Italy are just trying to manage it. They've done well. And Macri getting his stick onto the end of it. Very important indeed. Switches it as well. Planker playing it long. And whenever the crowd go quiet, you feel like that's playing in Italy's favour.
Yeah, it's the obvious thing going on here in this building. You saw Massimo Derin before this third period started. He had to put the earplugs in because the noise is just so deafening in here that he had to just protect his own eardrum so he could hear himself think. But you get that sense that if there isn't the noise, there isn't the energy. There is. It's just that the Italians are doing their part. It's not about maybe your own performance today. It's equally you got to respect what the opponent's doing to sort of mitigate you.
Well, again, the puck just becoming trapped underneath the sledges. And that's been Seung-Hwan's undoing on a couple of occasions. There's another chorus of noise breaks out from the top of the stand away to our left-hand side, and a very well choreographed move that from around 100 young Korean lads. They're certainly catching the eye of the press box, but the action is on the ice, and the prize at the end of this game is the biggest that either team have ever fought for. Kept alive again. Young Seung-Hwan just isn't allowed the space, and now trying to motor forward. It's Kaufman, and he was always going to be collided into on the edge of the centre circle. A few words as well between him and Kim Young-sung. I'm sure they weren't sweet nothings as that puck goes out for icing, and we get a chance to just recap on an absolutely mental first 6 minutes of the third period.
Overall in the game, Korea have 13 shots, Italy has 5, so that just tells a story in its own self. But you get a sense here, as we're inside of 10 minutes remaining in this third period, that it's just going to be one goal. And it could be off a play like this from a set piece on an icing here from Korea. Everything counts, every play matters. Every single player on the ice contributing to it has to be accountable for their output and their performance and the decision-making that they're going to execute from here on out.
Into the final 10 minutes of regulation. Will it be the final 10 minutes of the game? The way it's going at the moment, possibly not. Rossa from deep, it deflects up and into the path of Lee Jae-woong, who for a moment there you thought might have just lost grip of it, but he managed to find the needle in the haystack and pluck it out.
He's actually looked pretty comfortable, considering that he hasn't had a whole lot of activity. Both of the goaltenders have been outstanding, and I say that with full regard for watching what goes on. In this sport, generally you would say the best goalkeepers belong to the top nations, but they don't necessarily see a lot of action. Nations like Italy and Korea, their goalkeepers have seen a lot of action, and they've had to front up here as you're seeing some good work from the Italians and just what Lee Jae-woong has brought to the table today. This was, for me, the best save of the game so far from Arado to take it away from what looked to be the moment to shine for Seung-Hwan.
Both sides just on the regulated time break there, and a much needed one as well, but Italy have got the face-off, and every period seems to have gone down the same narrative of Italy just sticking it out for the first few minutes and then actually ending the period the stronger out the two sides. Korea have to stay full throttle, and they need the crowd with them all the way, because this is the final game of a busy schedule here at PyeongChang 2018. And it's going to be taking its toll right now on some of the star men that are out there on the ice. Winkler just ushered away by Cho Young-jae, and then he managed to get it in towards the near post. And Korea will just want to get this puck out behind the goal line, and they've not done it. And Winkler's got an opening that is well blocked at the first time of asking. But Korea there, what were they doing?
Well, they make a long play, a long reverse pass, and one of the cardinal rules as a defenseman is if you can make a direct pass to your teammate behind your own goal, do it. If you use the end boards, not only do you have the puck slow up as it ricochets off and deflects over to your teammate, but it can be an inconsistent bounce off the yellow kick plate. You're always better to make a direct pass, and that was a long bounce pass reverse, which seemed to me to be rather cavalier given the situation at the moment.
Risky business, and a third straight face-off in this circle. But Italy will work out of it the better. Calagueras just had half an opportunity. Sometimes that's all it takes. but that went wide, and then a couple extra thumps in the corner, as these hockey players at the moment are showing that they are far from fatigued. Great interception from Planka. Now he's got a bit of room around him. Caligaris is there. Corvino picks it up. Caligaris really. Caligaris surely. Oh, he just drags it wide.
He lost his stick, so he was a little bit like a one-legged duck there, trying to get himself into a position, and unfortunately he just didn't have the strength or the second stick in which to receive it.
Massive moment once again, and if it's not the opponents coming in your way, then it's the equipment. And if it's not that, the puck gets lost. It's just not going the way of the offenceman. Macri. Well, that was tame. Lee Jae-won still had to get things clear with the help of Seung-Hwan Jung, who was back there. And he's just zooming up and down the ice like a pendulum. And here he goes again. And he's going to break over the blue line. He's got Planka around his little finger, but Planka entangles himself. And at the second time of asking, Korea get it, pull it back. Seung-Hwan, Leperdi is there. Seung-Hwan still trying to jostle around for it. It's juggled in the crease and still recycled well by Korea. The block eventually coming in, and the crowd will take their seats again. Jung-sook was the eventual man to get a strike away, but the Italians are just sticking to the memo of throwing everything at that puck.
It's captivating to watch, isn't it? Just to see what's going on there. And that's what happens, and that's the crazy bit that could be the difference in getting a bronze medal or going out of here with nothing.
Lee Jae-won, goodness me, he may be 22 today, but he might have aged an extra 30 years after that moment. Cavalier, the captain. He's caught up in a tangle. He's got a teammate there to help him out as well. And it's just one big mixture on the far side who eventually managed to get themselves untangled. Korea trying to charge things from the back after that bit of a scare. Han Min-soo forward. It's a bobbling puck, which is not easy to deal with. And a big thump once again on the edge of the centre circle. It was Rossa dishing out the force. And he's got the puck once again now. Again, a loose stick. This time it's Radisas who will slowly get there.
Well, a couple of them there just sprayed across the ice. It's a little bit like you might see a yard sale. The way these players hit each other, sometimes they just elect to just allow the stick to be just freed up out of their hand rather than taking the full brunt of the getting wrapped into the opponent.
Well, there's absolutely no time at all to take your eye off this game, as Korea are trying to peg the Italians back now. They're right on the goal line, but too far in the corner to do anything in the immediate future with it. And eventually it's released, and Rossa just spins it around the backboard. And Winkler, who's had quite a bit of ice time in this game, particularly compared to the preliminary rounds, which is a bit of a surprise, but he's getting himself in the thick of the action. Rossa beautifully guides it along. And, well, wasting no time at all, that was Lee Soo-young, who was straight onto the scene, onto Larch. Final 5 minutes of the game. Where has the time gone? Well, the goals certainly have dried up. They've been non-existent so far. It will only take one to win it surely now. Seung-Hwan from deep. He'll be allowed to get some wind in his sails, as he was instead taking the puck was Jang Dong-Shin. That didn't work out, and he's now scrambling on the scraps, and Rossa is there again on the blue line, and Rossa goes for goal and wide. Now Radisa. In fact, it's Cavalier in the corner, and alongside him, Kim Jung-sook.
Well, isn't it interesting how the dynamic in this building has changed, hasn't it? It is no longer full throttle of just a pep rally of cheerleaders in the crowd. They are sitting on the edge of their seats here. They are as nervous as anyone watching, as they do not want to see the heartbreak that could be.
Winkler trying to turn and be the assassin. He's got the option now of flanker into the middle, big chance, and not enough purchase on the puck from De Pauli. If his arms were an inch longer, he may have just won the bronze medal for Italy. Oh, goal side now is Seung-Hwan. They're on their feet as he goes round the back, pulls it across, and that is the goal! Eruption at the Gangneung Hockey Centre. Lee Jong-kyung may have just won an historic bronze medal for the Republic of the Korea on home ice at a Paralympic Winter Games.
Is this a legal goal, though? That's the only question, and I guarantee you they'll have a look at it. Forget all the action and excitement going on here right now. That goes off the sled. There's celebration and delight here from the Koreans. We'll look at it again. Jang Dong-Shin, the service out, and I think that's going to count. He wanted to get it with his shooting arm, and instead it arrives a little bit late and it goes off his sled. I think that's incidental direction of the puck, and therefore I believe it's going to be a good goal. The Italians, however, will have wanted this to be reviewed, so we've got some drama as this will have a look and see exactly how this puck does go in with a couple more looks on a slow motion replay.
Just looking for Jonathan Morrison right now, the two linesmen, there he is. He's got the headset on and he's communicating with those with the tape in front of them.
And this will be interesting. We heard the eruption as we expected with the Korean goal. You wonder when he comes out here to make the assessment whether or not it's going to be even louder. I think everybody understands in the building what's going on here. I don't think he makes a directional play on that. He's going to the net. He wants to receive that with his stick. Unfortunately, he doesn't have his left hand down. He's controlling himself with the right hand.
Goal! It is a goal. Jonathan Morrison has pointed to the centre. And it was almost like a coronation there when the Koreans saluted the crowd after the goal. And it'll stand. Is that the moment where the Koreans bag bronze?
3:18 to go in this third period. It could be the only amount of time remaining in this tournament for both of these teams.
Well, it's Jang Dong-Shin who has been credited with the goal. At that moment, it didn't really matter who put it over the line, but someone in blue did. Caligaris now. Opportunity to tear up the script. Saved again by Lee Jae-woong, not looking the most comfortable, but he had his defenseman there to sweep up in front of him. The Koreans are wanting more, and Seung-Hwan with an opportunity to crown this one once and for all. He's forced out wide and well checked by Macri. That last bit of play there, Jung, was just to dump it round the back and keep it alive, and it was put into a good area as well from Cho Byung-suk. Flanker just pounding into the ball and losing possession. Well, the Italians have got to go for it now. There's 2.5 minutes remaining, and that clock is rapidly ticking away as far as they are concerned. The Koreans, nails beginning to be bitten. Well, the atmosphere was red hot before, but the mercury's off the scale now. Rosser, Macri taking care of Cho. Now Leperdi. Italy have just got to go full out, and it's an unfortunate ricochet there as it is taken through easily by Korea around the back of their own net, and they have dealt with another minute of play. They've only got 1.5 minutes now to deal with. Rosser cannons into the challenge. He wants it. Leperdi. Rosser is going to be in there again, and that time with Jang Dong-Shin, the scorer. Now Macri. It's hearts in your mouth stuff for both sides as they anxiously see if Italy can be any way potent. They've defended so well in this game, and they've had the breaks as well, but mostly from Korean errors, and I don't think the Korean mistakes are going to come in the next 60 seconds.
Well, you hope for their sake not, in this expected crowd of over 8,000 people here watching. This is a chance for Rosa. He's likely. Oh,
he's on the left, and it's saved at the near post by Lee again. Is that the last involvement he will have? You'd think not. Italy are going 6-on-5. Araudo is leaving the ice for the final time. It's a merry-go-round in there. Vinclair wide. Well, the Italians have got 6 white jerseys in the Korean defensive zone. This is their one opportunity to rescue this game, rescue a medal, and force it into overtime. It's not where they want it. Calagueras has got an option free. He's not used it, has he? It's come back, and the chance is there again, and it's wide. And Macri on this occasion with the left blade shot. How are your nerves? Rossa around the back. Leperdi, the countdown is on. Rossa, what a miraculous challenge. And is that going to save the bronze? You bet it is. The Republic of Korea get their first ever Paralympic medal in para ice hockey. Their fourth Paralympic winter medal of all time. And it's come here at the Gangneung Hockey Centre. The emotion is rife. The noise is through the roof. And the Republic of Korea have a position on the podium waiting for them. Bronze at the World Championships here in 2017 and bronze at their very own Paralympic Winter Games.
A very proud, determined, and resilient effort from both of these teams. We felt as though it was only going to be a one opportunity game as the final score, Republic of Korea with a late goal and a little bit of an inadvertent one, will win bronze 1-0 over Italy. And it wasn't a goal that anybody maybe envisages being the deciding for a medal, but at the end of the day, it's all about the looks in their faces here now and the journey they've taken to get here, and they're going to have a sweet moment in day 9 when they go onto the podium.
Credit to Italy, who made a real game of this. They finished higher than they ever have done in a Paralympic Games before. They are only 12 years old in their relative infancy when you think of the giants in North America and Scandinavia. But for the Republic of Korea, this is a special moment. They have written so many superb storylines over these games so far, but this is the crowning jewel. This was the blockbuster, and this is their bronze.
The Koreans are the drama kings. And what I mean by that, they are able to rise to the occasions. They are not asking for favor. They are not asking for an easy access to what they've just earned here today. They've won this by right. It's not simply as a result of hosting this tournament. They are here by right as a top team in the world of para ice hockey. As we look back over the third period, 4 shots aside, really the stats do not give us a whole great reflection of where the advantage was. It ultimately was a single play, a game-breaking play by Seung-Hwan to just take the initiative and to take that puck down below the goal line and to center feed it to the anticipating player as Jang Dong-Shin gets the opportunity there to finish it off, and he never gets a touch of it with his hands as it goes off his sled. And we talk about the skill of skating in ice hockey, para ice hockey. It's the most important thing that you can develop as an athlete in this sport. And talk about the sled doing the business here for bronze.
Para ice hockey paradise. The Italians finishing in the top 4. It's still a place improvement on the World Championships a year ago. They are a program getting better and better. And you felt as though coming into this Paralympic Winter Games that it would be they and the Republic of Korea who were the 2 dark horses who would challenge the mighty North Americans. One last big cheer. The Koreans have made this place their home over the last 8 days, and they're going to be sad to leave it. But when it's a big game, you want your big players to come up. You just give it to him sometimes and pray. And Seung-Hwan came up with the goods, and look at the tears beginning to flow there for Seung-Hwan Jung, the coach. They've got a strong team there. Kim Jung-ho deserves a mention as well, the assistant coach, and the full Korean roster. Young-man Gun, the goaltender, didn't play today. Instead, it was the birthday boy Lee Jae-won. But both of them have put in tremendous shifts over the course of the 8 days. And this is special.
Well, it's special because in this sport, they just won gold. The North Americans are the best in the world. and then it's the rest. And these athletes here from Korea have just arrived to the top of the podium of the rest.
It is spine-tingling. And you get a roster of players of 16, 17, and that's how many different stories you've got for them to come from all different parts of the Republic of Korea, or Italy as well, all onto this ice rink on day 8 of these Paralympic Winter Games, put in a tremendous display and be triumphant, not within your own team's ranks, not with just your family, but for the whole nation, whose eyes have watched upon this Gangneung Hockey Centre for the last week, and they have loved what they have seen.
What you saw here is a legacy cemented. Everything that we saw up until today was wonderful memories that would last a lifetime for those inspired by the Paralympic movement here in PyeongChang. But this was consolidation of a legacy formed, born, and will carry on in Korea.
And to have the head of state here as well just makes it all the more sweeter. And the pride that must be beaming through those blue jerseys right now is unfathomable. A word on the right-hand side of your screen as well, those in black and white just leaving the rink. A well-officiated game, a well-officiated tournament. Jonathan Morrison, his final bow at Paralympic level. And what he's done in the last 12 years for para ice hockey. United States of America have a program now where it's not just your regular officials from the hockey coming into the paras.
The bronze medal game provided everything that a neutral could have wanted in para ice hockey. It had drama, it had speed, it had defense, it had a little bit of offense that was the difference in a game. And both of these sides played to the best of their ability in their final match in PyeongChang.
A final hurrah, a final bow to the crowd as well, but a first bronze for the Republic of Korea. Is this the start of something special? Certainly something special is happening right now. The Republic of Korea defeat Italy by 1-0, and they are the PyeongChang 2018 bronze medalists.